But I mean, it was not time ill spent. You definitely.
But I haven't gotten them to believing. I haven't said like she can, she can work for you.
Oh, I mean, you definitely have them believing that there is an entity named Osprem. Many of them are thinking that she's on the level of one of the Witch Kings. And you definitely have them believing that she lives on this vast ocean of endless water in every direction. That they cannot even comprehend how far away it must be. And you have them believing that she can make thunder, which some of them have maybe seen once or twice in their lives. So, no, you've definitely put a seed of belief in these children. But you're not going to convert anybody after one day.
That's okay.
But after the crowd disperses, you see the sad old man kind of... He walks up to you. He's like, "I give you my thanks. It's been many, many years since I've heard such words." And he turns and walks off towards the store.
Store, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I will follow him to the store then, because I'm curious about him.
So we're going to make that your evening? You're going to spend the evening at the store then?
Yep.
Sweet. Alright, who's next on the list for afternoon actions? We got these jackholes down here at the ruins. And I guess
jabronis.
Zook's taking a nap.
What?
You put Zook upside down there.
What are you guys doing at the ruins? Are you defacing these ancient ruins?
I'm just following Eldove at this point because I received no help.
Okay, and like I described,
investigating.
Like I described to Arik, the ruins look like the ancient this sculpture. You can only see the back half of what might have been a winged snake at one point. And if you as you spend the afternoon up here, infrequently one of the slaves will come up and pay some small tribute to the ruins, and they regard you politely, but they don't try to strike up a conversation. And this happens maybe once or twice.
Winged snakes? Can I roll history for that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's 10 plus... Actually, I forget what my history bonus is because I haven't used it in so long.
That's how historical it is.
15.
Yeah. Okay. Winged snakes are regarded as celestial beings, but not by any civilization that still exists in the world. They would be known as beings of Eunaeus, the divine form of sky, which is said to where angels and giants and gods live in Eunaeus. So at one point, this may have been a statue to one of these lower or lesser celestial beings. But
okay, that's kind of interesting.
No modern civilization has these. These would be considered paganistic beliefs to your modern ears. There are so many hands here poking at Zook and Eldove. It's like poke, poke, poke. I like it. Khalil.
Yo.
You and Wahiba, towards the end of her patrol, come up on this area of the town. And you see Eldove and Zook up there at the ruins.
Oh, over here?
Yeah, and you guys are just walking down the street, and it's very, very quiet. The patrol is very uneventful. And Wahiba looks up at Eldove and Zook. She says, "Are those your companions?"
Yeah.
So I hope you don't mind me saying, but he's the queerest elf I've ever seen. And I've never seen the like of the little one before.
They're both very strange.
Eldove waves.
Zook waves too and shouts, "Hi, Khalil!"
He got your name wrong again.
That was in character.
Roll a Constitution save. If you fail, you're very sad.
Just going to facepalm with these two and just acting like idiots.
I roll a 20. I just wasted a 20 on that.
Yeah,
good job wasting a 20.
And I mean, at this point, this is the end of Wahiba's patrol, and she's going to go back through town one more time and pass the baton over to the, or no, this would be her patrol's long over.
Nikhil?
Yeah, you're with Nikhil now.
Yeah.
If you're still patrolling. But it's why she'd be heading back to partake of her meal and for the evening. But she asks you. Nikhil's a little more suspicious than Wahiba. She's a little bit older. You get the sense that she has a little more experience. She's probably seen a few more battles. And she's very blunt when she asks you. She says, "So what are your companions' designs in this town? You travel with very strange folk indeed."
As far as I know, they're putting one of their crew members off the ship. Here, at least that's their intent.
They've come to sell a slave.
As far as I know.
No, she asked.
They would tell you no.
She said, "What of the devil woman? What are her designs here?"
She is that crew member's advocate, I guess.
She will have trouble selling him, I'm sure.
Well, like I said, I don't think that's their intent.
And she shakes her head and she says, "I don't understand people from the large cities. Give me a foe that I can fight."
I have none for you right now.
And she's more interested in talking about battles that you fought, foes that you face, adversities that you've overcome.
Tell her about the dragon.
Yeah, I will start talking about the dragon that we found in the in this pyramid in the middle of the desert.
And when you tell her that you've slain a blue dragon, you definitely have her attention and her respect. In fact, roll a persuasion check to see if she even believes you.
We can go get it.
Yeah, just take a couple days. We have to fight some gnolls on the way, but it's fine.
And honestly, the gnolls gave you more friggin' trouble than the dragon did.
Because we keep telling people it was a dragon and not a little puppy dragon.
No, she believes you. You tell her that you slayed this dragon,
13.
and you tell the story, and it sounds very convincing.
I didn't kill 4 dragons at once.
Do you tell her that Zook delivered the death blow?
No reason to go into that kind of detail.
Of course there's not. But no, she believes you, and she's very impressed.
If I'd let it be, then it would have definitely grown and become a hassle for the city.
Listen to this guy acting like it was his idea.
Man, eat a dick.
And she says, "No doubt about that." She says, "I long for the day when we can leave this quiet little village, go on grand adventures like the company used to." And then she catches herself, because you're walking with 2 other guardswomen, and they kind of look at her out of the corner of their eyes. I have this giant fucking wasp flying around in here.
Oh god.
And I hate him. Like, I just want him to go away. Like,
You should grab Gus the hideous zombie head and bludgeon it to death.
Bludgeon it to death. So
if that was happening, you wouldn't even hear me. You just hear a squeal as I ran away.
Yeah, no kidding.
You'd hear a trail of urine hitting the floor.
No, you hear all kinds of crashing and banging as I'm trying to murder it.
So, the two other guardswomen kind of look at her a bit, and then Nakiva catches herself. She says, "There's no need to tell the daughter I said that."
No, I'm not. I mean, discontent happens, but...
And at this point in the conversation, you all have reached the front of the mug again. She says, "Well, I suppose you'll be wanting to take your evening meal?"
Yeah, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit peckish.
And she says, "Well met, Wall Walker." And
well met to you.
She heads off. What are Eldove and Zook doing with the rest of their afternoon here at the ruins?
Well, you know what? Honestly, not too impressed with these ruins. I mean, that was all interesting and everything, but there doesn't seem to be any, like, cool buildings or anything.
Now, on the other side of the hill, over here, the baseball
diamond
cool here. No, actually, very much not a cool building. Exactly the opposite of a cool building.
A mega cool building.
On this hill, you just see the foundations laid for a cool building. Like something was supposed to be constructed here, but that's as far as they got.
I'm gonna look over and see if there's anything that indicates why they stopped building.
Nothing you can see, but it's something you can surely ask about.
Alright. Well, I think I'm gonna head back into town. Maybe, what's her name will be back at the inn.
Poem?
Poem.
Poem, there you go.
Yeah, I kind of want to get to know Poem a little better now.
We go hang out with Poem. Hey, Poem.
Hey, Poem.
Arik, you walk into the store, and the bald man that listened to you preach is there, and he's very upset. The young stock boy, well, he's not a stock boy, he's a grown man, he's 20 years old, Hanhar, the older man is just yelling at him about, and what are all these goods doing over here? These belong over here, and this logbook isn't right at all. It looks like you've been selling these things for the wrong prices. And Hanhar just keeps muttering apologies over and over. He's, oh, I'm sorry. You know, Miss Misnerith came in and she changed things around. She told me things are being done differently now. And the old man scoffs, says, Misnerith's not in charge of the store. I am. You listen to me, boy. And claps the boy on the ear. Ooh. Just as you walk in the door. The boy kind of shrinks and goes about his business, correcting all the mistakes he's made. The old shopkeep turns around, and you can see a hardness on his face that you didn't see before. And he sees you when you walk in. He nods to you. This is something I can help you find, brother.
What seems to be the trouble here?
He scoffs and says, the trouble is that Hanhar here doesn't know how to run a shop. And at this rate, he'll never learn.
I see. I wasn't ready for this. Surely the boy meant no harm, though. It's innocent mistakes, and he'll learn.
And Hanhar, from the back of the room, says, he's right, sir. I meant no harm. The shopkeeper says, I suppose you're right. It's hard enough running this store without the young mistress in here every day, changing things around.
Young mistress?
Misnerith.
What is she doing? Is the shop not your domain?
He says, it is. The master trusts me with it. That's all the more the problem. His daughter, incompetent as she is, has no other job on the plantation, so she fancies herself master of my shop. And this numbskull, he listens to her, because she bats her eyes and squeezes her bosom together. And Hanhar's face reddens quite a bit at the mention of this. He turns back and he says, you could tell the master I said so too. He won't dare whip me.
Well then. Very well. I'm just I couldn't help but be curious as to how you knew so much about Osprey and the sea and why you're here and what brought you here.
At that, he moves behind the counter and leans over on his elbows. And he puts his elbow firmly on the counter and tips his forearm forward with his hand open. Says, sit down and clasp my hand, boy. He's inviting you. He's inviting you to an arm wrestle.
Oh, all right, cool. I'm down with that.
Okay. So you sit down.
Using the counter to brace yourself. It's all karate strength.
Oh, come on. Arik knows how to arm wrestle. Go ahead and make just straight up strength check.
Straight up strength? Alright.
You gotta beat a 15.
Oh.
Okay.
Ooh.
And you clasp it, you see the muscles in his arm, and you didn't notice it, but the man is quite muscular for his age. He's pushing 50. And you see the grimace on his face, and you see him sweating. He's putting all his muscle into it. And, I mean, you defeat him. You've got the benefit of youth, and you're a strong man yourself. But he gives you quite a fight. And you pin him down. So I see you've got some strength on you.
I've I unknowingly curse under my breath to say, "What is this all about? I don't understand."
Since I was a soldier, I was born and raised, I was a follower of Heronius. Heronius, you know, is another god from your pantheon, god of war.
See, how did you end up here? You don't mind me asking.
My company was hired on by a merchant out of Dunfoss. Crossing the ocean, we were waylaid by pirates. We gave them hell, but they took us into their hold, took us captive, brought us to Romneus, sold us as slaves. And so ends the story of Benny Bay.
Pirates, huh?
This is hearing...
I sort of grimace when he mentions pirates.
I imagine you do. This is hearing words of our gods. Gods from across the sea. So I was not a follower of Osprim. I've never offered her a prayer. But it was good to hear her name spoken.
Yes, I understand that now.
And I mean, you're girded in like full armor, and you've got your trident and everything, right? So you kind of look like a soldier yourself. Okay.
Yeah. And
no, he's very approving of you after you best him at this contest of strength.
Okay.
And he says, "Would that I would have died that day aboard that ship. That was the end that was fated for me. That was an end that would have been fitting. But alas, I stalk beans and trousers."
Very unfitting for you. For someone like yourself.
And he says, "And to top it all off, the Mistress Misnerith makes my life hell."
Yes, I can see that now. Putting you in unfavorable situations where she comes in and tries to manage your shop. Tries to get your stock boy to work against you, knowing full well that of course he's going to have to listen to her.
You sound like you're getting into this.
Sorry, what? I am into it.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's in a no-win situation. I don't enjoy this one bit. Let me see if there's something I can do. And with that, I sort of...
offer that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I walk out and make my way toward the inn.
Okay. Alright, so everybody's back at the inn for the evening?
Yeah.
Okay. And all of the patrons are here for the evening meal. The dour dwarf lady, the two sand elves, and Poem, who are all staying at the inn. And the meal is served. Beer is brought out.
Khalil, what's the terms of a typical slavery contract?
Depends on the contract. Depends on how long the debt is owed.
Not the terms in terms of length, the terms in terms of conditions.
Khalil, you're really only familiar with slavery inside of Kiska.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the city, anything goes, basically.
Yeah. And Kiska would have no kind of jurisdiction here whatsoever.
None.
Tarin is quite visibly upset.
Oh, I bet.
And I mean, in terms of slavery, this village would be considered more civilized than a lot of the desert. I mean, you have nomadic tribes beating each other in battle, enslaving the lot of them, raping, killing, pillaging, etc. It's pretty brutal out there.
Yeah, but Kiskan law would have no place out here, right?
No, absolutely not.
You don't even have law over the docks.
Sorry,
No,
what
right?
was the nosy sister name who got involved with the sword? What was her name?
Misnerith.
Misnerith. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
Do you guys want me to just go down the list of Udocs?
I
I'll
think we've
forget
seen most
anyway.
of them at this point.
You've actually only heard of a couple of them. There's a lot more than you've heard.
Okay.
Anyway. So what's going on in the evening here?
I'm still waiting to hear from the
Nope.
plantation.
No word has come yet.
Yeah, I was actually thinking,
Going to call after them again?
my thought was actually, and I'm trying to see, is there equivalent of gather information in 5e? Is that just part of...
Investigation?
What kind of information are you looking to get?
I was trying to find out if I could basically bribe anyone to see if our offer of having meeting with the Eldoves has been taken seriously, like anyone who might be privy to the inner councils.
Meeting with the Eldoves? God, we have more than one of them now.
They better be taking me seriously.
Udox.
Okay. Bribing? I mean, the slaves really have no use for your money.
Right.
There's really nobody else to bribe. Unless you're going to try to bribe one of the guards.
No, I was just hoping like an advisor or something who might have some idea.
Nah, probably not likely. If you want to spend the evening out in town making an investigation check, you might learn something about whether or not they're going to call you and when.
I can do that.
Okay. But
I'm not any good at it.
You're not likely to find that at the inn, but if you go out in the town and you ask around, and I'll let you take the investigation check. DC 12.
No.
Yes?
No, I failed.
No, okay. You get the sense that his name is Yaemon. Yaemon Udok is the owner of the plantation, and he can't possibly be a very busy man because there's really nothing for him to do. His children run the plantation. He just sits up in his manor. He's just in no rush to call you up. He doesn't see the point, really. But you don't learn you don't find out anything that you think you could leverage to make headway in that direction.
Alright, that's how I spend my evening.
Eldove, do you want to try to talk to Poem together?
I invite Poem to a rousing game of cards.
Poem does not know how to play cards.
I will teach you.
Oh, fuck.
With real money.
It's very fun.
She is not willing to gamble.
Just for fun.
And as you're starting down and starting in with the rules, a young slave boy comes in and pulls on Poem's robes, and she leans way down, and he whispers something into her ear. And she nods once, and the slave boy runs out of the inn. And this is a little bit after sunset. And she looks up, and she says, "I'm sorry, but I have to take my leave of you. I'm needed elsewhere." And she nods, and she stands up, and she walks out of the inn.
I will sit down across the table from Eldove and say, I don't know about her, but I'm game.
Oh, awesome.
And a few moments
Great.
after Poem leaves, the dwarf woman, who's only halfway through her beer, pushes her mug to the center of the table, and she stands up and walks out after her.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
So we'll start at 50 gold.
So is that your evening action, Khalil and Eldove, or whatever? Gaming?
A little too rich for my blood, I'm sorry. Mr. Nobleman.
Orphan.
Don't worry, I'm sure the captain will spot you.
Orphan, evening action.
When no messenger seems like it's showing up, I'm gonna go visit Rossi's.
Roxy's okay. Arik, evening action.
I'm assuming. I thought my evening action was speaking with the shopkeep.
Yeah, but everybody else came back to the inn, and now you're here, so...
Okay. I go back to the inn, and I tell the story to anyone in the adventuring party who's here right now.
Okay.
I'm very content and happy with myself.
Zook, evening action.
Well, I was trying to talk to Poem, but she took off, so maybe I'll join Eldove's card game.
Okay. And where's Tarin at?
He's out and about.
Oh, yeah, he's...
Yeah, he's info gathering.
Investigation, that's correct. Okay. At one point, while you're all sitting there playing cards, losing money to each other, the nighttime lieutenant, I've already forgotten her name.
It's
Amina.
down on my page. Yeah,
Amina and her two
yeah.
guardswomen poking, exchange a few words to the innkeeper, and leave again. Zook, why don't you make me a perception check, DC 15?
Passed on the roll.
Okay. Amina's wearing a buckler, and it's a very plain shield, But on the inside, you see where it's crisscrossed with the wooden material that makes up the bulk of the shield. You see an etching on it, like somebody took a knife to it, carved something there. And it depicts a very, very crude mimicry of the sigil of the Guild of Shadows.
Oh, shit.
Orphan. Go to Rolksy's place, but he is not here for the evening.
Huh.
Dude, his door is locked, and there is nobody around.
In that case, let's see. What else could I do tonight?
If Amina and her guards were acting, like there's some shit going down, I'd probably excuse myself from the game and
Oh no! This
see if there's
is
anything I
this
can
is
do to
part
help.
of their patrol.
Ah.
They poke their head into basically the store, the gates of the manor, the inn.
Oh, okay. If it looked like just business as usual, then never mind.
Yeah.
The person who I saw the Guild of Shadows sign on the inside of the shield. Because Zook didn't walk around all day. What does he know of her?
Virtually nothing. You know, she was with the guardswoman. You know, she has the same snake symbol emblazoned on her armor. They keep the peace in town.
Okay, so
In addition to that, you would only know what Khalil has told you.
Khalil, as far as I know, hasn't told me jack about her.
Because you haven't asked.
Are you still here?
I'm
Yeah.
playing cards.
Everybody's playing cards.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had left or anything.
No.
Well, yeah, no. I asked who those people are who came into the inn.
That's the what'd you say they were? What was the name of the
The Sanguine Serpents.
Sanguine Serpents?
Yes.
And what do they do?
They're a mercenary guild for hire who has taken up a contract here in this town to provide security services, like the Wall Walkers in Kiska.
No, the Wall Walkers is a guild in Kiska. The Serpents are a mercenary company. They're just a loose band of warriors for hire. Well, you're not a mercenary. That's the difference. Yeah. You're a soldier. Your services aren't for sale. You are. Yeah. You're part of the military.
Okay.
Do you tell him that Amina is one of the lieutenants?
Yeah.
Okay, then he tells you that as well.
Okay. So I know that she is one of the lieutenants of the people who guard the town, basically.
Yes. Orphan,
Okay.
what are you doing at the manor?
Yeah, so when I didn't find Rolksy's there, I decided to go to the manor to see if I could talk to the guards there.
And the guards are there, and you can talk to them, but they will not. They will deny you entry.
Okay, I just want to. I'll ask him. Excuse me, but when do you think that that the master will send for us? We've been waiting for a couple of days now.
The guardswoman replies, "Oh, I'm sorry. Is the master at your beck and call?"
I shake my head and say no, but this doesn't seem like it would be a long meeting, and I just don't understand what the holdup is.
These are two different guardswomen than the one you.
Right.
Okay.
Be right back, y'all.
But I mean, they kind of rebuff your advance. They kind of, when the master's ready for you, he'll send word.
Alright.
Nothing we can do to speed up that process.
I'll swing by the store on my way back then.
The answer they give you, you kind of get like the implication, like what would the master want with you anyway, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Zook.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get the last nighttime actions in. What is Orphan doing at the store? Shopping or?
Yeah, just looking around to see what they have.
By the time you get there, the door's locked. It is already late evening.
Back to the inn for me then.
Orphan goes back to the inn and climbs on top of Khalil's shoulders.
Yeah.
At this point, Tarin comes back, having learned nothing. And so Zook.
When I'm curious about that girl with the Guild of Shadows sign on the inside of her shield. If I go outside the inn, do I see her? Is she out and about?
Oh yeah, she's patrolling the town with her guardswoman. This is her job. She's the nighttime patrol.
But she's not alone. She's walking with
She
other
has
people.
2 guardswomen with her.
Where about? I'm go out in the street. I'm just walking around.
Okay, and
doing my thing.
they're not difficult to find. They're patrolling the place. If you're looking to approach them or shadow them or whatever, it's not difficult.
How about I just approach them and try to strike up a conversation with Amina?
What do you say?
I wish them a good evening and ask them how things are going.
And the girls titter a little bit when they look down at this tiny little man who is approaching them. And Amina's very young. She might be 16.
Mm-hmm.
And the evening is fine, my little friend.
Might I ask what it is you ladies are doing this evening?
Amina says, I have the honor of being Amina in service to the daughter, member of the Sanguine Serpents. And at the mention of the name of the company, all three of them do their little, like military motion, clasp their hands across their chest or whatever. She says, it's my duty to patrol the town during the night, make sure everything is calm, quiet, and safe.
It's a very important duty. You must be well trusted in this town.
And all three of the guardswomen nod.
Would you mind if I walk with you a little bit? I'm still new in town, and I'm staying in the inn, and I wouldn't mind walking. I'm a kind of a night person. So
one of the guardswomen can't contain herself, and she chuckles a little bit. She giggles. She says, "Can you keep up?"
Zook is pours on as much charm as possible and says, "Oh, these legs may be little, but they move quick."
And they seem to be happy to have your company.
All right, I'm gonna scamper along with them for a little bit.
Now,
and,
they're gonna be patrolling until dawn.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna walk around with them until dawn. What I'm thinking is my goal is to try to flash Amina the patch without the other two seeing. But it sounds like they are way enraptured in me, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to pull that off.
How do you try it? Like, do you take it out of your cloak? And
well, it is, and as I described earlier, it's on the inside of a cloak, but in a way that I can flash it. It's not something I have to like pull out like a wallet. Like, it's something I could pull down, a portion of my cloak and show it.
Okay.
So if I was, if we were walking and I saw at any moment that the other two were looking away, I would try to catch Mina's attention and just sort of flash it at her and see if I still get any recognition or from that.
Okay. And as they're walking, these girls, they're younger than most of the guardswomen you've met.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be a little more cheerful amongst each other. And Amina, at one point, turns to the other two. Says, have you ladies ever heard of the leprechaun? She says, our new little friend here reminded me of the tale. She points off to the northern fields of the plantation. She says, they say, when Yaman Udok's grandfather ran the plantation, they spotted him in the copse of trees there above the northern fields. Could only see him an hour after dawn, and at no other time would they ever meet. And as she says that, she looks at your eyes. She looks you in the eyes. And then she continues a story about how this leprechaun gave Yaman Udok's grandfather 3 wishes, or a pot of gold, or whatever. And the girls enjoy the story, and that's the end of that. Nighttime at the inn. People retreating to bed. We have 4 rooms. So who is with Traeger?
I will be with Traeger.
Arik?
Yep.
Okay.
Because he probably could use a priest.
He actually, you have no idea. When you retire for the evening, having won or lost money or however it works with you people, you open the door to the room, and Traeger is hanging from the rafters in the corner by a length of rope from the neck.
Are you serious?
God.
Absolutely serious. You guys drove this poor man to his breaking point, and he hung him.
Someone cast Raise Dead.
Oh! Fuck you, Nodal.
Wait, is there a warlock nearby? We could go
I'm
bring him over
absolutely
there.
horrified.
I almost said, well, he's not dead yet. He doesn't need a priest.
And you walk in, and yeah, he's a short length of rope from the rafter in the corner, hanging around his neck, and you see where he's overturned a stool in the middle of the room in order to do it, and that's the sight you see. And he's still wearing the clothes with the arrow holes all up and down his chest.
Why are we even here anymore?
I do have Revivify. No, creature that has died within the last minute. Never mind.
Well,
Oh dear, this is
So, Arik, you're the first one to see it, since you went back up to that room. This is when everybody's ready to retire for the evening. That's when you find him.
Dark.
I let out a small yelp and I stumble backwards and fall on my ass.
Like that?
Yes, exactly like that. Like
Alright.
What the hell was that?
no, it's more like a ah.
And it's only a couple of minutes, because you all are retiring about the same time, and you see Arik let out this yeep, fall backwards, and yep, there he is, inside Arik and Traeger's room.
By Osprey, what have we done? This is horrible.
depressing.
Tarin will walk over, sigh, lower his head for a moment, draw his sword, solemnly cut him down, picking up holding his body so he doesn't fall.
Okay.
Bend his soul to your dark god.
Yeah. I do what I do as a priest. Last rites or whatever.
Okay.
Oh no, I
Equivalent
was
is.
asking. I was asking the captain.
Oh.
I mean, you have no idea what gods this man revered. I mean, if the stories
Yeah.
that Tarin and Orphan say are true, he's not from this world at all.
Okay.
So,
I'm still appalled.
you are, very much so. Probably by the whole situation. I have to peek at chat at this point. I have to look over there. It's not good.
Chat.
So, I mean, what do you guys do with the body? What do you do with poor Traeger? Let's go ahead and finish this story up. He made it 5 or 6 more sessions than Warwinax did.
So what were the names of those no-name guards? Let's bring them back.
Shut the fuck up.
Put them in the hold.
I mean, Tarin's kind of looking at Arik at this point.
Pour a cup of water on his face or something.
I already said, like, I'll do what I need to do as a priest in terms of making sure.
No, you're absolutely trained in
But, like-
giving last rites and things. Like you would know,
then,
even
yeah.
if he's not a follower of Osprem, you can still send him
Then, yeah,
to his.
that's-
I mean, he's with his family now. You know, it's better for him this way.
Is he though? Because he's on a different plane now. He might
No,
not make
quit
Sure,
being
I
such
do
a
that.
negative Nancy, Nodal.
So what do you guys do with the body? What happens here?
I'm
And
just
it's
So
like,
Will
I'm
has no
looking at
input
Arik
for this.
because this is sort of why I hired you.
Yeah, I said I would perform black
Okay.
rites and everything,
But
and I
what
assume we
do you-
bury it
what-
or whatever.
Do you do it here in the room? I mean, do you notify anybody? Do you take the body out of the inn, like,
I take the body out of the inn.
and go where?
This is a question.
Thankfully, at
Tarin will be
this
right next to you.
particular moment, the
But,
guardsman patrol is way up in this area talking about leprechauns and shit. So.
That hill might not be a bad place.
What do you mean, thankfully? Like, what are the guards gonna think, that we hung him?
You don't know.
I mean,
Oh,
if you
yeah,
want,
that's
if
the
you want to
hell.
get him outside quietly, I'll just fly him out the window.
Oh my God.
If this were a Keisha, Khalil would, if he saw that, he'd be like all up in that room, like dusting for fingerprints.
Let's
Is
fly him
this
back.
actually a suicide?
Let's fly him back to the ship.
What does Khalil think about the situation then?
Yeah, you're here. We're all heading
But
back to
Khalil's
Pretty
not
much
here.
the same thing, actually. Was this actually a suicide?
Okay, so I mean, go ahead and roll an investigation check on the room.
Meanwhile, Is there any specific place anyone wants to bury him? Because otherwise, I would just
Is that
go.
what we do? We bury him? I mean, again, this is why I hired you. You're my expert.
I mean,
But he's not a.
you know, Arik, you know he's a farmer. You know he's a man of the land. You know he was not accustomed to the sea.
Then we'll just bury
Maybe-
him in the land.
Yeah.
Investigation is 13.
Let's bury him near the fields.
Bury him in
He
the
was a
fields.
farmer. He should be buried near the
Perfect.
farm.
Sounds great.
In the fields.
Okay,
In
that's
the
We're not going to
field.
dig up the crops to bury
that's gonna be
him, but
interesting.
yeah.
Khalil, you find no indication whatsoever that there was any foul play. It looks like he obtained a length of rope from the store. He came in here. He stood up a stool in the middle of the room. He stood on it, tied the rope around his neck, kicked the stool out from under him.
There's
And then-
no suicide note or anything like that.
No, the man could not even write. Are you kidding?
Is it like carved in like a banister above his head? Like,
Just Traeger was here.
yeah.
No, nothing like that. So, Arik, you give the last rites. You guys work a little bit, dig him a grave, put him in the ground. Very somber, and you return to the inn for the night. Tarin, that night you
And
have
promptly forget about him.
you have grievous nightmares, and it's very vivid. And you're used to having nightmares, but
Yeah, I
this
figured
one
that's kind of actually standard operating procedure for Tarin. But...
This one seems different somehow. And you see your ship, and it's christened the Flumph, and you see the Flumph on the sail on the side, and you're sailing it, and you're not sailing over an ocean, you're sailing across a starry void. And
that sounds great.
you're accustomed to the touch of madness that overtakes you every time you use your magic. And you don't feel it standing on the deck of your ship. You feel as though you're sailing through this madness, but it's not reaching in to touch you. And you look at the sky, and these creatures are descending all around the ship. And as you look closer, you see they are, in fact, Flumphs.
That's reassuring.
Jellyfish creatures coming down with their tentacles dangling down, and they're swirling in patterns around the ship. And as you're sailing forward, you see that you're sailing towards a rift. Like a large crack in the nothingness. And as you sail across it, the image on your sail changes to a fist. And the christening words on the side change from the Flumph to Adric's honor. And as soon as you go through this rift, all of the creatures vanish. And you feel like you're in a place of intense madness and darkness. And you feel a presence all around the ship, closing in, as though you're no longer protected from it. And it feels very different from the madness that takes hold when you use your magic. And you continue to sail forward, and you start hearing a creaking sound, and at first it's very faint. And it gets louder and louder as you move towards it. And in the distance you see a figure, and it's swinging back and forth. And as the ship approaches it, you see that it is the figure of Traeger, hanging by the neck. And just as you reach him, his head snaps up, and his eyes snap open, and his mouth opens very wide, and at that moment you dart forward in your bed, coated in sweat.
And he says, "Would you like some frittata?"
Thanks for ruining the mood. So that's the, and you're very, like you said, you're accustomed to having these nightmares, but they're almost comfortable to you most of the time. Like, they're very strange, but they've become, like, you've made peace with them at times, because you've noticed the power that this touch of madness grants you, but this was something that comes from a very different place. Zook, you have an opportunity to take a morning action before anybody else does.
I should have been paying more attention. Sorry. So where were we when she was pointing at trees and talking about leprechauns?
She was saying that Yaemon Udok's grandfather met a leprechaun up in the forests behind the northern fields.
Uh-huh.
But you could only meet this leprechaun 2 hours after sunrise. That was the only time you could see him.
Right, so I'm going to go there.
And when you go there 2 hours after sunrise, Amina is sitting there waiting for you.
Well, how's it going?
She says, "You tell me, my little leprechaun."
So, just to be clear, she did see my patch. That was before she went into that random leprechaun story.
After you flash the patch, you have no idea if she saw it or not, but that's when she started telling the leprechaun story.
Okay. I'm just going to try the direct approach. I'm going to say, so tell me about the symbol on the back of your shield.
She's telling me about the symbol inside of your cloak.
Well, I want to know if you got the symbol on the back of your shield from a similar place that I got my patch.
She says, I was born into the guild. My parents were born into the guilds. Their parents were born into the guild.
And how does someone who was born into the guild end up way out here?
The guild has interests everywhere. This is a small village, but you never know what might come through. She says, the guild needs eyes, little friend.
Don't I know it? They seem to have eyes everywhere on me.
She says, so, what brings you here?
Misfortune, mostly. No, we,
Did Zook go back to the inn to sleep? At any point?
Yeah, no, after the little leprechaun story, he went back to the inn to sleep.
Then you know that Traeger is dead.
We came here because one of my companions had business to do here, and we also were seeking a place for an old farmer who's traveling with us.
That's what your companions are doing here, but what are you doing here? Do you have a message for me? A missive from our brothers.
Bong.
And then the TARDIS arrived.
Sorry, that was my boom mic.
No, I'm afraid not. Actually, I have no message to deliver at this time. I merely noticed your seal and wanted to make a contact with the guild. She
nods and says, "Well, you have made one. As I take it, you were not born into it like I was."
No, I worked my way in through much trial and tribulation.
Where, if I may ask?
You cut out for a second.
Where, if I may ask?
Kiska.
Kiska? Kiska means Talos. And how is our friend the elf these days?
He is as mysterious and beguiling as ever.
She nods. She says, I may have use of your services. So you're a little man. You may be able to get places where I cannot. Places where my cover doesn't allow me to go.
I'm all ears. What did you have in mind?
He says, the dwarf, Iron Glove. She's staying at the Mug.
I've heard this name before.
And you've seen the dwarf in the Mug now and then.
Right, but I haven't actually been introduced to her, so I'm just now putting that together.
Right. She says she's a bounty hunter from the far east. From the mountains where you may have grown up. She's here...
Go on.
Searching for someone. Her bounty is here in the village. But I haven't yet found out who she's searching for. And I have an interest in learning about it.
Is your interest in capturing the bounty before her? Or protecting? I'm not sure where you're going with this.
And she shakes her head and she says, I won't know until I know who the bounty is.
So just the presence of the bounty hunter makes you know something is worth knowing.
So it means that there's a criminal on the premises, and if she's been here for a while, as long as she has been here, it tells me it's not a traveler, and none of these slaves have ever been to the mountains of Tetluteus. That tells me it's a Udok. More than that, I haven't gleaned.
How long has Lady Iron-Gloves been here?
Several weeks now.
Okay. Do you have any Any leads? I mean, well, yeah, you think it's someone from the house.
So I've spoken to her a few times. I've asked her business in town. But she's tight-lipped. She won't speak to me.
Well, I'm usually pretty affable. People tend to find me to be harmless to look at and entertaining, so I'll see if I can untighten her lips.
She says, I would appreciate that. She says, my cover in the serpents cannot be exposed.
Oh, absolutely not. We never had this conversation.
She says, and what will you want in return for this service?
I fancy myself a bit of a treasure hunter primarily. If you happen to have any information of any places that have treasures that would go unmissed, then that would be
when
of
you
interest to me.
say that, you see her face light up a little bit. And she says, Poem recently was paid to reapply the glyph on the iron door. It was you, wasn't it?
Now. That could have been any member of the Guild of Shadows thieving around at night.
And she laughed. She says, I'm sure it would have. I'm sure it could have been. She says, okay, you're looking to rob the Eudox. She says, why mince words?
No. Let's be clear. My interest in that area is purely cultural curiosity.
Ah, I see. She says, okay. In return for the information on the bounty hunter, I can get you through the iron door.
Can you tell me what's on the other side of the iron door?
She says, I've never been across it, but from what I understand, water. A vast underground spring that the Eudox control. Whether or not there is treasure down there, I couldn't say. But it wouldn't be remiss.
In the desert, water itself may be the treasure, but I certainly would like to give it a look.
She nods, and she says, that's why the Eudox hired our company.
Okay.
At this point, she stands up. She says, I need to get back. She says, but you know where to find me when you have the information.
Same time, same place?
She nods, and she heads back off towards the guardhouse.
Okay.
Zook, walking back to the inn, you hear great and furious sounds coming up from the south. Roaring, cries, crashes, and when you look that way, coming up this path and through this field, you see at least 12 hill giants tearing the place up.
The fuck?
Oh.
That's what we're calling it for the week.
Oh, good. I was like, I gotta go to bed. I don't
We
have
can take
time for
up.
hill giants.